guys, welcome back to the channel. Rolling out some Modern Warfare again, and I'm in one of my favorite new tanks. Well, it's not really that new, but T64. What is it? The T64 69. It's got the contacty area armor all over it, and it's just one of those smaller 5v5 battles. And I actually quite like this little map. It's like desert map, and for the most part, I kind of I kind of like to go now down the, what is it, the 9 line? Yeah, down the 9 line and get a little bit hull down because the turret on this tank is pretty strong, and maybe poke down that line to my right a little bit just to see if there's anything kind of creeping through the middle. But for the most part, I like to go over on the left side. But if my entire team goes on the right side of the map, then I just wolf pack with them because there's no point in getting caught out by yourself. So moving up here, gonna come around this corner and get spotted immediately because there's a guy rushing this way. And he tried to do some kind of rushy strat. And so we run up here and trade with him. I didn't really expect him to be there. And he was shooting down on me, maybe. I'm not sure exactly where he pinned, but... And then my leopard buddy decided to go in there on him. And instead of concentrating on the leopard, he just sat there and he just wanted to shoot me. So I can sit here all day and watch my leopard tear him up. So I put a couple shots into him, but yeah, that guy didn't really play that too well. And get really unlucky with that shot there. I don't know why that decided to shatter on the side of his tank. A little bit too much shattering going on in Modern Warfare these days. Take a shot from the RDF and then come around on this guy, track him in place, which is going to make him a little bit easier to deal with. And we're just going to keep jostling and bumping him and take this guy out. So that's my first kill, and then we're just going to drop down to the bottom of the middle of the map here. And if I hadn't shattered that one shot, and I shatter a few other shots coming up in a little bit here, but I would have done a lot more damage. And I'm not entirely sure how that whole shattering thing works with rounds, or why your fin stabilizing rounds decide to blow up. But sometime I'm gonna have to figure that out because it doesn't. I'm not entirely sure why that happens. So we've got this guy here. I don't really have a good shot, so just took a shot at one of the flat spots on his turret. It was a little bit touch and go whether that was gonna pin or not. But he was a full tier higher than me. He's a tier 6 and I'm a tier 5, so didn't manage to take any damage. And again, I'm going to test to see if I can maybe overmatch the top of his turret. And again, shattered again. So not really the best result. And right now, I probably could have just gone in there and just started running and trading, but I thought I could maybe get this guy in a lower plate shot, but he ended up rolling right into a rock, and he shoots my turret, breaks my gun, and the rest of my team just sat there farming out the one last little light tank that was in there. And now I'm reloaded, and don't really have the best of shots here again. Shattered again. So if I hadn't have shattered all these rounds, I would have done a lot better. And I thought that would probably pen the side of his turret. But again, moving up, gonna shoot this guy on the move, take him out. So that was 2 kills. And for 2 kills for really small damage, it was down about 1,000 damage if I would have got full shot damage kills on those guys. But that didn't happen. So that was the game of shattering, and I don't know if someone wants to mention in the comments why that sort of thing occurs with the way the rounds work. It'd be great to know why that happens. Yeah, the T64A mod 1976. I thought it was a 69, but it's really a 76. So made an okay amount. This is one of my battle hardened tanks, so it's pretty much like a junior premium tank. I don't think it probably gets quite as good as bonuses as a premium tank does with credits and experience, but pretty close. End up getting 6 spots, kill 2 guys. Didn't really do that much damage, but in the large scheme of things, it wasn't the worst game in the world. I was just surprised at how many times my rounds decided to do virtually nothing. It's kind of reminiscent to if you play World of Tanks very much. The what happens when your rounds decide to get eaten by tracks, and then they don't even track the enemy. That's the same kind of equivalent thing going on, and it's kind of annoying. I don't really like how that works, but there's not really much you can do about it. Okay, next battle. I'm in the MBT-2000, I think this thing's called. I've only taken this thing out in PvE battles before to try and get used to it, and my crew in it was, I can't remember if they're full or they're not, but the hull is of a M60 tank, and then it has the turret of some sort of Abrams of some sort, and it's not very fast, and it looks really weird. It looks kind of like a super deformed tank from Japan. So I've also never really played this map before either, so both the tank and the map are new. So it was a bit of a weird game. It's a very ridgeline heavy game, lots of undulations and ups and downs, and thankfully not as many trees. But the tank definitely has main battle tank sort of view range, so it doesn't see very well, and you'll find out in the first area I crest here. I find out how bad the camo values are for it. So it's not very sneaky. That's definitely for sure. So to our left we've got either a T72 or a T64. So I'm poking up here, see if I get spotted. And at this point I was kind of confused. Like I wasn't getting spotted, and I'm looking around, still not spotted. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave now. And then I get spotted when my turret's turned, and I get hit twice for a ton of damage by a bunch of TDs or light tanks that are camping in the back there. So already I'm starting off with a bit of a handicap, which wasn't great, but it wasn't all bad. But what I did see is this other tank on the other side of the map here trying to push through. And so I slide a little bit, but managed to come around on here. And because the tank's pretty accurate, I managed to zoom in on him, hit him, track him, and that pretty much sealed his fate. He lost all of his momentum, and he was fully dead after that point. The rest of the team really smashed the crap out of him. And then another premium Soviet tank, the Object 187, I think it's called, he decided to try and do the same thing on the other flank and do some sort of push through blitzkrieg maneuver. So I managed to catch him, light him on fire, do a crap ton of damage to him, and he burns out. So pretty good result there, doing a little back and forth on the map action and running into my teammate there a little bit. So I'm gonna pull up to the top of the hill here and peek over a little bit, see what I can see. And it's again the same sort of situation where you can't see anything, but the light tanks and the tank destroyers can see you. So I'm gonna pop over. And I'm still kind of testing it. The tank has pretty good gun depression, but even just doing that, I managed to get myself spotted somehow. So it's not not maybe the best area to try and pull through. So I decided that I was just going to kind of pop back here and make sure they weren't coming around our other flank, because we didn't really have a lot of tanks there. There was just some armored personnel carrier driving back and forth, trying to figure out what he wanted to do. And he kept the map lit up over there, which was kind of good. So I decided to pop up here to see if I could maybe find anything to shoot. And I got a shot into that guy, but again, I took damage doing it. Because there's so much cover, and the whole middle of that area just seems to be like a wasteland where main battle tanks can't really go because they just get lit up by light tanks and armored fighting vehicles. So not really my favorite part of the map that much. This tank isn't that well armored, and well, I was giving up the side of my turret and stuff, so I kind of expected to take damage. So things weren't really looking too great. We were losing at this point, and it kind of was waffling back and forth that I didn't want to leave this position too much because I wanted to be able to give fire support to the guy behind me who was on the zero line if he needed help. So I'm always constantly kind of poking back to see if he needs help, and if anyone's sort of chasing him to see if I can give him a hand. But at one point here, he decides to vacate, and he starts running down the zero line. And as you can see on the A line up there, we had a T80 that just basically sat there and did screw all the entire game. I don't know what he was doing hiding over there, because he wasn't able to shoot anything. I don't think he wasn't spotting anything. There's nothing else on the A line that I could tell. So he kind of just didn't do anything the entire game. He was hiding in the back hill, being a tank destroyer. And if that's the kind of gameplay you're going for, like play tank destroyer or play a light tank, but don't pick a main battle tank and then hide in the back behind everybody else and then pretend you're doing something. So yeah, the turret's not really that. I guess the turret's pretty responsive. It's pretty quick. I don't mind the gun handling on it, and I'm pretty sure it's running a 105 or 120 millimeter gun. So again, I'm just gonna keep popping up this ridge because I know I can't show too much or I'm gonna take a lot of damage. So again, gonna pop up, see if anything's going by, and I get a little bit lucky here because there's an Abrams that decides to try to drive by. So I managed to put a 600 damage shot into him, get all the way hull down so he can't see my crappy hull. So he thinks I'm just another Abrams at this point. And he shoots me, he breaks my spotting device, and it was right about now that I noticed my gun was broken and my ammo rack was toasted. So I decided to fix my ammo rack and leave my gun broken. And I hopefully at some point they're going to fix the multi-repair pack that lets you repair 3 times because it's really overly priced. It's like 55,000 credits, and if you use it in one of these battles, you'll almost guarantee yourself to not make any money unless you're running a premium vehicle. So kind of wanted to get back here to see what I could support on this side, and I take a blind shot at that guy. Wasn't sure if he was behind something or not. And again, I'm gonna just try and consolidate back with where my team was because that T80 was still hiding back on the A line, sort of guarding our back, but I don't even know if he was playing. Other guys in the team were saying he was a bot, but I wasn't entirely sure. I just knew he was mostly useless. So driving up over here, I managed to get myself spotted again, and there's something else hiding in the back there. So I take shots from that, and managed to get my gun broken again. So it starts healing itself, and now I've really got to make sure that I stay hull down because if I don't, I'm really going to die. And trying to get a little bit of my camo back here, not moving too much, just kind of sitting here, and something else is taking shots at me, but good gun depression, and I put another shot into that Stingray. But now I'm taking shots from behind because the T80 decided to vacate and not cover our backs. So I'm just going to swing the turret all the way around because now the turret's broken, the gun's broken, the observation device is broken. The only thing that's aren't broken is like my engine. Everything else has been pretty well damaged, and I don't have hardly any hit points left. So I decided to keep my armor to the direction where the guys were coming behind us, and just kind of back down into the cap, which only had 17 seconds left. And this was the best way I thought for us to win. So I rolled into the cap, just kind of sit here, angle my tank off to the left, and this was the what kind of broke the camel's back here. We ended up rolling that one out into a win, and it was pretty close. They might have been able to sit there and just keep chipping away at us because I certainly had no health to go and fight anything, and it was a pretty funny win. But it was okay. I did a little bit of damage, about 4,000, which was good enough for like second or so on the team, and I did manage to get 1 kill out of it, like 4,200 damage for a tank that I'm never really played and not sure if it's very good. Yeah, the M60-2000. And yeah, it makes good money though. 190,000 credits is never bad, and 4,500 EXPs. So yeah, sorted by damage, I did pretty well, and the mid didn't mitigate much damage, only about 1,500 during that game. But yeah, it was a pretty fun batch of games, and I'm gonna keep playing this game, and hopefully it'll kind of keep getting better and better as the community comes back a little bit. So just want to thank everyone for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and share if you can. Donate if you like the channel, and I will see you guys again in the next video where I might actually show some. I'm maybe going to show some World of Tanks 2.0 graphics now that they're not terrible anymore, but probably won't really get back to playing too much of World of Tanks. But we'll see. See you later, guys.